Hey everybody, it's Calvin the Go here, and I'm here discussing One Piece Chapter 1072, The Weight of Memories, and I would appreciate if you guys can give me a like, share, and subscribe. Let me get to the video now. Now, I wanted to talk about a plethora of things in this chapter. I'm not really going to go line by line, bar for bar when it comes to the chapter. I kind of want to give my thoughts on the main points and topics when when we're going over this chapter. But to me, the thing is, this just opens up so many opportunities, so many possibilities for things that we can see in the future. You know, I'm really starting to enjoy the Egghead Island arc. I think this is an arc for people who are not casuals. I think this is an arc for people who really want to get down in the nitty gritty of One Piece and love the lore and love the the world building aspects of the series, because this is what this is doing. This is really just giving us more um, exposition on things that we haven't really known much about. This is kind of giving us context clues on certain characters and kind of giving us more of an idea of where things can go with them. To me, it's just an overall great experience. Oh, by the way, I'm pretty sick, so if I sound weird at times, you know why. Got a little cold, but the point I'm trying to make here is Oda is really just doing a great job and giving us a different vibe from what we had in Wano. A 4 or 5 year arc, right? An arc where it felt like we were there forever. Um, Mostly all on the topic of war. It's just granted we're the whole last saga is going to be a gigantic war. I think Oda's even kind of elaborated that, but obviously it's not going to just be nonstop fighting after fighting after fighting. We're going to get a lot of information. We're going to get so many different things. But let me get into the chapter now. So the cover story is really interesting, and I think that now, kind of getting more context clues into what we've seen and seeing how Oda's done this in the past with the pudding situation, I think Oda's really going to start incorporating his cover stories into the current chapter. Actually, maybe even a like regularly. You know what I'm saying? It already happened when we saw Aokiji and had captured Pudding, and then we saw Pudding later in the chapter. And now we see what seems like the OG Mads guys, Queen, Caesar, and Judge. Seems like they're all working on one thing. And Caesar has a Del Fruit, which really, in my opinion, seems like it is probably most likely the one that Stussy had at the end of the day. So now it's like, okay, where can we go with this? What can Oda start to do here? And it's really exciting because like now it's like, all right, it's not just like we have a cover story that it doesn't really have much to do with the story. It's just kind of like a cool little side thing that doesn't really have anything to do with the current day timeline. But now it's like, all right, he is really going back in the past, giving us a little information, giving us little tidbits on Mads. I'm really excited. The only thing I kind of wish we could have got is like a full chapter of like full Mads flashback, and we still might get more things that we're not going to get in the cover story. But we've seen so many characters of the Mads group in succession. We've seen, Caesar multiple times. At the start of the New World, then we saw Queen recently, and then we saw Judge the before. So now it's like, okay, and now we have Vegapunk here, and now we have Stussy, or we don't know if it's the OG Stussy. We don't know what's going on there in terms of the one we saw in the past. That could have been the clone as well. But the point I'm trying to make here is there's just so many different things relating to Mads. So I think we're going to finally get a Mads flashback eventually, unless this cover story is going to serve to that. Granted, we're getting a lot of information in this cover story still. I'm really excited to see how it ends, and where Germa's gonna go from here. I wonder if there's gonna ever be a reunion with all of the OG Mads group, and if they're ever gonna work together again, or it's hard to tell. Like it's kind of hard for me to see Queen reuniting with other guys, but I mean Caesar is out and about. We don't know what's up with Caesar. Judge, we don't know what's up with Judge either. You know what I'm saying? So that's what this cover story is going to give us a little more information on, and see where Germa and the rest of them are going to go. Granted, I've talked about this cover story too long, but I think that they were really creating that Stussy clone in that chapter. There was no Vegapunk there, but I think Vegapunk probably had the most important aspects of creating it, giving the mind, and maybe even a soul. I don't know how that's gonna work, but I think that's pretty cool there. the technology that they've shown is out of this world, and I'm really excited to see what other things that they created in the past and seeing why it got turned down. Because I feel like they probably made something that's so dangerous that they're like, all right, we can't let these guys work together anymore. Granted, moving on to the story, the Bonnie and Kuba thing is really interesting because it's really kind of shown to me that Vegapunk has a heart. Vegapunk really cares about Kuma, cares about people in general. For a long time, a lot of people kind of assume that someone like Vegapunk, a scientist, doesn't really care about people. Just kind of cares about the progression of science in any way that may be, no matter what has to happen, no matter who has to die. But now it's kind of like we're seeing a little bit more of his character, seeing that he really has people that he values and cares about. So that's cool to see. So he's not just like, a stale robot kind of guy. He's a pretty solid dude, it seems like. Cares about Bonnie, cares about Kuma. Um, so that's pretty cool, and it really seems like we're going to get a Kuma flashback. I'm really excited to see that. Kuma looks pretty raw in the little flashback, the little miniature flashback that I don't know if it was Vegapunk was thinking back to, but I'm pretty excited to see that flashback. I feel like it's going to be a real tear jerker. I feel like it's going to be really sad. Oda loves to have his sad backstories with the children and the father and mother or whatever, kind of showing the sacrifice that a parent will have to make for their children. And I think Oda even stated in the past that he kind of had a different thoughts on these kind of things when he had his own child, when he had his own daughter. So that's an interesting thing as well. And anyway, the bottom line is, at the end of the day, I'm really excited to see what happens with Kuma and what his main story is, what his main mission is, what Vegapunk is having him do. A lot of people insinuated that his memories were taken away from Vegapunk, but it seems like he probably took away. Excuse me. It seems like he probably took away the memories from himself. He probably used his own ability to take away his own memories and then leave it for whatever, preserve it for whatever. And I wonder if it'll be like his whole life story or it's just gonna be a little bit of memory. So it's kind of hard to say because honestly, in my opinion, if he was able to physically manifest the memories of his whole life, it would be gigantic. I mean, or really, if anyone but it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And then after that, we get a little bit more action with Kaku and Zoro. Kaku is awakened. Doesn't I don't really honestly. This kind of harpens back to Wano a little bit, but I don't know why Oda didn't give any of the commanders or Kaido awakening. I think that was a huge missed opportunity unless he wants them to come back in some capacity one day and fight again. But it's hard to even take this seriously because we would have been so hyped back in the day to see awakening for the commanders or maybe even some of the Topiropo. And now it's kind of like, oh, well, the CP0 guys have it. Like, do we really, how serious do we really take Kaku? Do we really think Kaku can even be someone like, a cracker per se? I don't think so. Any commander, really. So, honestly, the luster of Awakening is kind of got severely damaged for me. I feel like a lot of people have the same sentiment as me, where it's kind of like, oh, Awakening, cool, I guess. Because now it's just like, oh, I guess anyone can have it if King or Queen don't have it, Kaido don't have it, but Lucci and Kaku do. It's kind of like, all right, maybe if it was just Lucci, you could be like, okay, maybe you do need to have some kind of specialty, but no, it just seems like it doesn't really. There's no real barometer on what Awakening is. I wonder if maybe Vegapunk will give us some kind of exposition on Devil Fruits and Awakening and stuff like that. But right now, it just kind of seems kind of lame that someone like Kaku has it, in my opinion. But then the Beast Pirates don't have it when they're literally the Beast Pirates. They're literally zones for years and years. They've had their fruits for decades. A lot of them, right? So it's kind of weird that none of them had Awakening. But that's neither here nor there. That was a quick little scrap. I remember in the spoilers that they said Kaku actually got defeated by Zoro. Clearly that was a lie. There's a lot of Zoro Sanji agenda in these spoilers, but maybe that's my fault for even reading them. And we also see that the rest of the Seraphim pulled up and started to attack the lab that had the other Vegapunks in it. And then we see that Sanji and Frankie are going to help Brook and Zoro with the with fighting, of course. So that'll be interesting to see what kind of battles can come about from this. And then we also have to remember that Kizaru is nearby. Kizaru can pop up at any second, and I wonder if we will finally get the Sanji and Kizaru clash that many people have been waiting for, me myself included. That would be really exciting. Or they could just fight the Seraphim, which would be crazy hype as well, because we're seeing how the Seraphim have been hyped by Oda and Vegapunk, saying that they can become the strongest humans of all time. So it's really exciting to see what happens there. Strongest crew versus strongest humans. I like how that sounds, right? But no, and then what happens after that is, after Kaku's getting off the ground, he gets bit by someone, and it turns out to be Stussy, as we've already talked about from the start. Stussy biting Kaku is... You know what's interesting about this? It's like, this is one of those things that no one really could have predicted. Oda is really good at subverting expectations, but he had gave little tidbits of what he wanted to do with her. But it turned out she's a double agent working for CB0, would really potentially working for Vegapunk, right? It was created by Vegapunk. Maybe wants to just protect him because that's potentially her... I guess you could say Vegapunk's her dad, in a way, created her, and all the rest of the Mads guys. But no, I mean, it's a really exciting chapter. I'm excited to see what happens next. The whole Bakken and things like that. It seems like she really is a clone of Bakken. Buckingham, whatever you want to say. I think that's where that's going to go. I think it's eventually going to segue into more things with Weevil and kind of getting more information on what Weevil is, because we still don't really know much about Weevil at all. It seems like Bakken and Whitebeard, maybe they really did have a thing back in the day. Maybe she stole the condom. I don't know. I've seen people joke about that Bakken stole the condom and gave it to Vegapunk and created a clone of herself, but I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Or I'm sorry, created a clone of Weevil. Created Weevil, because she did talk about how Whitebeard's blood was in Weevil's veins. So I wonder if this is going to finally segue into more Weevil things, because he's a character that a lot of people kind of forget about and kind of is like wondering, like, what is his purpose in the story. But it seems like it's going to tie into the whole Mads thing, into the whole Vegapunk thing. So many things tie into Vegapunk. So many things tie into Rocks. I'm really excited for the Rocks flashback. I'm really excited for a Vegapunk flashback on Mads, maybe. But at the end of the day, quick little review for you guys today. I will be dropping more videos throughout the week when I get a chance. And I appreciate you guys for watching the videos. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you're new. Calvin the Goat signing out. Have a good day, guys.